Alright, you guys. So, this is more misinformation. And, listen, I'm going to put out a video after this one's uploaded. So, you guys will probably already seen it. You can take a cap off a connector and flip it either way.
Yes. It will go on either way.
So, just listen.
Okay, folks, it's Rich 220. I have been removing the connecting rod caps and turning them around to see if they'll go on. They won't.
Yes,
they
they
only
will.
go on one
Yes,
way.
they will.
Yes, they will.
Possibly the bearings are worn out.
No, these are the new
I took
bearings
off
you just
another
put
one.
in.
I'm seeing a lot more wear on one, but not on the crank. I was also told to loosen the distributor because maybe it's advanced too much, or maybe it's retarded too much, whatever the case may be. So I loosened the distributor. I turned it one way. I turned it the other way. Nothing.
Dude, the car's got a
I'm
gallop.
at a
It's
loss
going to
for this
have a
one. I
gallop.
really
You got
don't. I
different
don't
compression on fucking 2 cylinders than you do
I don't
6.
think that any of the connecting
Dang,
rod
dude.
caps were put on backwards. I really don't. Because there's, where the journals are, there's actually metal in the way. And on one side of the cap, it's actually, there's a flat piece that sticks across. And it won't go in the one direction, but it'll go in another one. So, I don't
The
think it was
fuck
putting
are you talking
a
about?
connecting rod cap on
I
backwards.
don't know, Oz. I mean,
It's either the bearings or the starter's no good. That's about the only thing I could think of.
what about the main bearings? They too tight?
More to be discovered at a later time. Right now, I can't deal with it.
I just seen a
I
fucking
was out
video
there
where he
for
talks about he borrowed a torque wrench and
couple
set it
hours. I
for
took a couple
35
of the
pounds
caps
2 days
all the way
ago.
off.
And he's at the set for
And, you know,
35
trying to
pounds for 2
literally
days.
switch it around. They won't fit.
I mean,
So that
you
theory's
never
right
leave
out
a
the
torque
window.
wrench set. You always take it
They
back
won't
to
even
zero.
go on. It just like
The minute you're done
stops right
using
where,
it.
You know, you get the bolts to go through the cap holes, and that's it. It won't go any further. I mean, if you want to be stupid and drive it with a hammer, yeah, that'd be dumb. But no, I think it's the bearings or the starter. I think the starter's either giving out or it's the bearings are worn out. Yep.
Okay, so maybe Rich don't know this, but I'm gonna help you out here, buddy. So how you know if a bearing is bad is it'll have like a copper tint to it. It'll have lots of wear. It may not be all the way copper, but you're gonna see copper through it. So you know a bearing's going
It's
bad.
got a cut in it, a groove in it. I mean, he makes 10 videos where he talks about a partially. What the fuck is a partially spun bearing, dude? I mean, if a bearing spins, it spins. Are you saying only like the top part spun to the bottom part? Did I say spark?
Yeah.
I did. The top bearing spun to the bottom.
Okay,
What is
everybody,
a
this is
partially
Rich.
spun fucking bearing?
So here's another one.
I mean,
Now, Rich, buddy, if you ever do this again, buy assembly lube.
oh god, yeah.
Do not use STP or any fucking other type of oil.
I've seen other YouTubers talk about using STP, and that's fine if that's what they want to do. But that was something people used back in the day. Listen, if you're going to build an engine and put it right in your car, maybe that's okay. I would never do it. I'm not saying it's wrong to do. I'm saying for $20, you can get assembly lube. You can either buy Lucas, but I prefer the Molly lube. It comes in a black tube. It's $20. You're going to pay at least $5 for the fucking STP. If you're going to build an engine that's going to sit in your corner for 6 months, you don't want to use an oil-based fucking. You want to use something that's going to stick on that cap while it sets. Facts. I mean,
220. Instead of using white lithium grease, what I'm
who
going
the
to do
fuck
is
don't-
put
would
some
you use white
Lucas
lithium
oil
bearing
or
grease
STP,
on a
that really
bearing?
thick stuff
Bearing
like
grease?
honey, and smear it
White
on the
lithium
inside of the
bearing
bearings
grease.
as I
White
take it
lithium grease
apart and
usually
put
is
them
used for
back together,
bearings,
one at a
door
time,
hinges,
just
okay.
like the heads.
White lithium
Because
grease.
you have to do the numbers
Not engine
in a
bearings, though.
certain rotation
No,
in order to get
no,
it to
like
go.
wheel bearings and
The
shit.
car is cranking like it's on a dead battery.
No,
the
you
harmonic
no,
is moving
No, it's not made to run
with the
off.
ignition, but I cannot turn
Dude. That's the point
the
of it.
fan or
It's
the
made to
belt
stick.
or the harmonic or anything manually. And it's not the timing. The timing has been locked down as it was on top dead center. So what I have to do is I have to take the oil pan back off and take off each one of the connecting rod caps and push the connecting rod up so I can get the other end of the bearing and lace it.
You
with,
like those things the hard way, don't you, buddy?
Lucas Oil or STP Honeydew treatment or whatever the hell it is, and smear it on the bearings on the inside only. Okay, when you try and turn a car's fan and harmonic and everything manually, and it doesn't turn at all, that's like kind of dealing with a spun bearing. So that's what I was saying as far as the lithium. The lithium was the wrong thing to do because it doesn't adhere to the bearing.
It will. That's
As
all
well as
it will
that
do. It will just
STP
stay
oil
there.
treatment or
Yeah, when the
Lucas
car
oil.
starts, it won't allow
You smear
oil.
it on with your fingers, and
I
then
mean-
put it back on.
Don't touch a
That's the
bearing, you
problem.
guys, with your bare fingers.
The car was draining for about a week,
If you do wipe
and
it off with
everything
some thinner or
became
something, where you
very
leave it.
dry. So the only way to remedy this is
Think
to do it
about
the
what he's
way I
saying. The
said.
logic.
You have to take them apart.
White lithium grease
Put the
just
Lucas
ran
oil
off.
on manually by
It
your
don't
finger
work like
and
that,
smear it on the inside of the bearing.
That's the total
Then put it
opposite
back
of the
on.
point of white lithium grease.
It has to have some kind of lube, like I said. Maybe it was wrong because I said white lithium grease. Oh God, sue me for being incorrect.
Well,
It's
Rich,
still
if you're
a
trying to teach
lubrication,
people, you don't
okay?
want to like
And it
say
still
shit like
does
that.
need lubrication.
Right. I mean,
Putting that oil
And
in
if
there
you truly
after
feel
it's
like
sitting
you was
for
wrong,
a week
why
and the
didn't you say, well, I
bearings being
fucked
tightened
up
down
and
and all
move
that
on?
crap didn't help.
Fact check yourself, buddy.
Okay? But nobody knew that either. So what I have to do is, like I said, drop the oil pan once again.
I mean, there's no excuse
Looking
for any
forward
of
to that.
this, really, because there's 100 YouTube channels
Take
that
each
would
one of
show
the
you
caps
everything.
off.
Yeah.
I mean, he
One at a
says he
time.
has a factory Chilton's manual for the
Place the
car.
bearings on both sides, on the push rod and on the cap. Okay? Then put it back on and tighten it down to specs.
What?
Make sense? I sure hope so. Because I really don't
Okay.
know about any advice
you
from
say
anybody
put grease
else.
on both
Nobody
sides of
ever
the bearing?
even said anything about any kind of lubrication on the bearings at all whatsoever.
What?
Case in point.
Who should
At
have to
least
tell
I
you
mentioned
that?
something about some type of lubrication. That's
Every
what I'm
channel
talking
that
about.
builds engines talks about that.
And that's the reason why they need lubrication, because it sat for a week or two.
No.
And all the oil drained out.
What? Not
Like
with
and
white lithium
subscribe,
grease, they never had
folks.
oil.
Hit the bell.
How do oil
Leave
get
a
through?
comment down below. See?
All right, you guys. So I got a couple of things I want to talk about, and Dad can see what he wants to say. So I'm gonna find the video. He talks about fucking you plastic gauge the back, and then the middle, and then the front. It's not all how you do it. You would plastic gauge your all your mains, all your rods, everything. It don't just wear in fucking
He
3
makes-
points.
He makes it sound like a crank, whereas universal. Listen, the problem with the spun bearing, if you have a motor that actually spins a bearing, the crank can look fine. Hell, the crank could still be fine. That's not the issue with that. The issue is your rod. If your bearing spins, how do you know it hasn't distorted your rod, stretched your rod, and think about this: the bearing spinning in that rod is extremely hot, and then when it spins, it's your rod you got to worry about more than your crank. That's what you want to have checked. That's why you're supposed to check. If you spin a bearing, at least have the rod checked. I mean,
And then
unless you just have to get. Listen, man. There's circumstances where you got to get the car back on the road. I understand all that. That's fine. But this dude makes it sound like, hey, man. I mean, spun bearing, no big deal. Yes, if a bearing spins in your rod, more than likely your rod's going to be out of round. It has to literally move that bearing past its two locks and spin around it.
And then he's going to talk about how these new valve spring compressors, and in one of the videos that we're going to do here upcoming, he talks about valve spring compressors, which are the tool used to compress valve springs. He even says that his shit's dual and no modern tool will do it. It has to be an old fucking Craftsman or an old this. No, that's not the truth.
I'll tell you something, Rich. I already know what the problem was, and I'm trying to educate you here. This ain't nothing to make fun of you, call you stupid, because you obviously don't know a lot about mechanics and cars. Sometimes, you said you just woke up, sometimes them locks and the tops, they get stuck. And if they're stuck, you could bend one of them C-clamps. You should never have to jam down that clamp, if you have it set right, to push that spring off that stem. If you're jamming on it, it ain't moving, you need to get a little hammer or something and tap on the tappity-tap on the top of the stem and around the lock.
And then put your tool in.
And then put your tool on. And keep tapping it until it moves easily. I mean, yeah, you
Okay.
gotta put pressure on it, but if you have to push so hard, you bend a fucking C-clamp.
And Rich, I'll show you my valve spring compressor tool. It's an expensive tool, but it's worth the money. I actually seen it on another YouTuber's channel.
Man, back in the day, I was lucky to have one that you could bolt on your stud on your head and do it, man. I mean, you don't need, he goes into excuses about not having tools, man. When my kids was little, I was lucky to have a complete socket set and 3 wrenches and a monkey wrench.
Makes it sound like to lap valves you need an expensive tool. You just
Right.
buy the cheap little paddle.
It's like
or you have a drill.
$7 to lap a valve. I mean, it has nothing to do with your tools. It has nothing to do with, I mean, if you got a basic tool set, you should be able to do what he's doing.
And here's my personal opinion on this, okay? If you know early on, like you're not in your mid 20s or something, already have kids. If you know when you're a teenager this is something you want to do, then in my opinion, you should take steps to get you there. If you have kids, unless you have an awesome job, you're not really going to be able to afford a lift, you know, a nice shop, nice tools. You're just not going to be able to do it. Kids come first.
Listen, this don't really apply to Rich, but because I don't know if it's our kids or not. But as a parent, most parents, when I die, I want to leave you better off than I was when I was your age, that age. You understand what I'm saying? You always want your kids to be better than you.
Like the Barry situation. When I'm Barry's age, I don't want to have to work hard. I want to be able to put my car up on the lift, be able to do everything comfortably. I'm already laying out in gravel and every fucking thing else working. I don't want to have to do that when I'm fucking in my 60s.
Here's another video, man, that he's got, and it's on my mind. I don't know why. He talks about when he puts these caps on. He puts the caps on all his rods all at once. Don't torque them down. Don't nothing. And then he's going to torque them on. You don't. If you're building an engine, and you can go watch anybody else, and they're going to say the same thing. Even with your mains, you would put your main caps on. You would torque one. You would spin the engine over, make sure it spins easy. Then you would spin the other one. Then you would spin the other one, so on and so forth.
And
same with the rods in his engine. I know somebody's gonna say, well, the rods are still, all the rods are in the engine. It's not that easy to turn over. You're right, but he could still tighten down one. He would still tighten down one rod, and you would turn it side to side, make sure at least you got half a turn smooth and easy out of it. You're doing one at a time. That way, you never forget one. You never skip over one, and if it gets real tight, you have a problem there.
that's the main thing I was talking.
You never spin an engine over, man, with loose caps or loose bearings. You don't do it. Because it can easily spin a bearing like that to start with. And when I say spin a bearing, I don't mean like, the way he's talking. I'm talking about it could literally jump out and move around. It could grab it and pull it out of the locks. And then you're going to torque it down, and it's going to be sideways in there. And that's going to cause problems.
You're going to H-shape it.
You're going to wipe it out the minute you turn it over. It's going to be done.
All right, and then another thing, Fast Thing, I know covers this guy a lot. So, hey, Fast Thing, let's watch one of his videos, man. He was talking about soaking the lifters. Do you know if he threw them in a bucket, like he just pulled them out, threw them in a bucket, and then put them back in the engine, or did he keep them in order when he soaked them? I'd like to know that. And there's something else. Go look at the comment section on our other video we done on him. There's a comment on there now. I don't know if this is true.
If I find out, this is starting to be different videos.
Yeah, if I find out it's true for 100% fact, then the whole order of these videos will change. But a commenter said that this man exposed himself, showed his twig and berries, if you understand what I mean there, and said fuck Cabal or something like that. Now, does anybody know if that, like, I'm not saying the guy's a liar by no stretch of the word.
Please don't take it like that. No.
But if anybody has the video or anything like that, I will give you guys my Facebook or my email, and y'all can send it to me. Because that's when these videos are going to change drastically.
Because that means he's not right.
Look, Barry may be a fucking sicko and a racist, but Barry's never openly took his dick and his balls on a live stream and said, fuck you, poor man, speed shot Mako. Like, that's not how I'd...
Suck my shit.
Yeah, that's not how you act on the internet.
There's something wrong with somebody that does things like that.
Now, if you have the video or something like that, or you know more about that whole live, or you know if the live's still up, let me know in the comments. I'm not calling you a liar. Don't take it like that.
Don't take it like that, man.
But I would love to have the video to put it up here.
Right.
Just so me and Dad can review it. So or if the live is still up, which I doubt it is. You can't do a shit like that on YouTube. This ain't fucking Pornhub.
Obviously, we have to block out his Twig and Berry.
Yeah. But if anybody knows live stuff and can point me in the right direction, I would appreciate it. And thank all you guys for watching, liking, commenting, subscribing. You guys seem to like.
I think the comment even said something about somebody's probably got it downloaded, and that's why we're mentioning it. We're hoping somebody has it downloaded. That's the whole point of mentioning this. Not to cast any doubt or I believe he did it.
Hey, Fast Thing, do you have any idea if the live's still up? Like you've covered this guy, you and Cabal, so I'm just wondering if you or any other guys that cover this guy, do y'all have any idea where to find it?
Trying to clear up his misinformation and hopefully educate the guy so he quits getting on here saying, call me stupid. Well, if you talk stupid shit, people's gonna call you stupid.
But if we find more out as time goes on and he turns into kind of a Barry type, then it won't be pointing out misinformation.
No.
Again, Rich, I'm not saying you are anything like Barry. I'm saying if you turned out to be, then
that turns into more that's not so much that you're just uneducated. And listen, not knowing about mechanics, Rich, don't make you not a car guy. So I'm not saying that either. That just makes you. But I don't understand how you can sit here and say I don't know about mechanics, but I have a Chilton's or whatever the fuck book. A factory manual is what you said for the car. So you have a factory manual. I don't know, man. It seems to me, just my opinion, anybody with common sense that had a doubt would crack that manual open and read it. Or would just hit Google and type in what they wanted to know and read some blogs on it or something.
Well, here's my opinion.
I wouldn't be blaming everybody else for my fucking shortcut.
Here's my personal opinion. If you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, that you're not a mechanic and you don't know what you're talking about, then why get mad when people point out you don't know what you're talking about?
Right, because, man, I wish you could get that. As soon as he gets this video up, there's a lot. I want to talk about it.
So,
but it's about. If anybody knows this video is, send it to the boy. He talks about he's got the rod too tight or too loose, and I mean I need to explain that it's not. That's not all, man. I mean he's just nuts.
And again, if that live's out there, let me know, please. Not that I really want to see a 51-year-old man's fucking pecker, but
because I'm sure we'd all like to see this 57 Chevy go down the road. So maybe if somebody gives him enough the right information, he won't have no more excuses and to get going down the road.
I just hope we don't turn into Barry and get on here and fucking try to berate me.
Right.
Or you.
Yeah, because that ain't to disrespect you, man. I mean, if you're taking this as disrespect, I apologize to you, Rich.
If you want to, but if you don't take it there unless you're ready to take it there. If you catch my drift.
Yeah, this is not to disrespect you. Or I'm not calling you stupid. I mean, I don't know you. I mean,
because I'm keeping
the shit you're saying is just hogwash.
Because I'm keeping this respectful, but the minute you take it to not respectful level, then this is going to be totally different. So, you can either try to learn something, or you can get on here and do like you do Cabal and my buddy Fast Thing and all that shit and fucking try to berate somebody. And then I do got one more thing to point out. You did some videos on Cabal, John, and Fast Thing. Why'd you delete them videos? Like, I'm just curious. Like, most people, even Barry, when he makes a video about me, or
that son of a bitch stand.
Yeah, he stands on what he puts out. It may not be right, and it may be fucking horrible to do, and he may say some shit that's just wrong as fuck to say, but at least he'll stand on it.
Well, half-assed. I mean, he won't address the mixed race thing. Mixed race kids, something wrong with them.
I'm talking about.
African American. Won't address.
I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about when he does a video fucking bad mouthing us, all of us.
You're talking about him talking.
Yeah,
shit.
he fucking stands on it.
Making it clear he don't stand on all his shit because
he stands on the shit.
He stand on what he said.
Because he put out videos bad mouthing everybody, but he deleted them. Like,
sure.
But at least Barry, when he puts out a video about us bad mouthing all of us, he leaves the video up.
I don't know. I mean, nobody can ever figure out why people do what they do. I mean, maybe ask second thoughts. I mean, I don't know.
Because they weren't really that funny, buddy.